So I want to just make this video about Phoebe. Over the weekend there were a few vigils that were held, and I ummed and ahed about whether or not to share them here on YouTube, but I know that a lot of my subscribers from overseas have fallen in love with this young girl and would like to share this themselves. So I have got most of the first vigil, the one that was held in Gingin, and then following that I've used clips from the second vigil, which was held in Bundaberg last night. The reason I haven't used all of the second vigil is because most of the speakers were the same people and many of them used the same speech. So I've tried to avoid doubling up on speeches. I did use both speeches done by Kylie, Phoebe's mum. While she does read the same two poems, things she says are different in both of those speeches. And to be honest, as Phoebe's mum, I think, to be fair, I wanted to give her a chance to speak as much as possible. Now, I just want to clarify for people. This is your typical Aussie country family. They didn't grow up in the suburbs, they grew up on the land, and as such, they're a bit tougher than city kids. And I'm saying this because I really hope that I won't see people making judgments in the comments section about a community that they don't understand and about a family that they may not understand. Now, one of the things that was mentioned by Phoebe's mother, Kylie, at both vigils is that she's found it quite touching that Phoebe has been seen all around the world and that people's hearts all around the world have been touched by Phoebe. And while you will hear Kylie herself say this, she said that Phoebe's spirit over the last 3 weeks got a chance to go to so many places around the world that she never got to go to during her life, which is such a lovely thought. So this is what I'd like to ask of people before we start the video. In the comments section, could you share what country you come from and what state you come from in that country, so that Phoebe's family and her community can see just how many have been touched by Phoebe's story, and for Kylie to see just how far Phoebe has travelled since she went missing over 3 weeks ago now. I think it's a lovely way of thinking it, and certainly if that provides some comfort for Phoebe's family, then why not look at it that way? And essentially you could say that Phoebe has been in homes all throughout the world. So one thing that really resonated with me was Phoebe's family describing her as someone with a fierce sense of justice, someone super tenacious. And it makes me think that Phoebe was probably helping searchers to find where she was. Because I would imagine a young person with such a strong sense of justice would want to make sure that justice was served for her. But I do feel like she's a bit of a kindred spirit almost. Those of you who follow my channel or have done so for a while know what I'm talking about. Those of you who followed my channel for a while will of course be aware that there have been occasions when I have had other content creators slightly upset with me for standing up for what is right. But this video isn't about me or my channel. This is about Phoebe. Now, if you watched my last few videos talking about Phoebe, I mentioned a GoFundMe, a legitimate GoFundMe, and there's also a few scam GoFundMes that popped up. So the legitimate GoFundMe is actually to raise funds for those parts of the community that helped search for Phoebe. So the local SES, for example, but also for organisations that were there for Phoebe during her life. I think this is a wonderful gesture. I have had friends in the past who were volunteers with SES, and the amount of work that they put in, the time that goes into training, and they have to stay up to date with their training, so it's an ongoing thing, and some of the things that they have to turn up to are heartbreaking. So it is certainly a worthy cause, raising money for SES and other community organisations such as that. Now, you probably also saw the video where I called out a few grifters who were trying to make money off of this tragedy. Now, I know I'm not the only person who reported them, but it seems that thankfully both the fake GoFundMes have been pulled down. One of them, I do suspect I may have had a hand in having that pulled down, having contacted the organiser directly. Now, I don't have a copy of the original message that I sent the organiser because that was through GoFundMe, and I actually didn't expect any sort of response from this individual. But basically the message I sent to them was, there is an official page raising money for this girl. You don't have authority from the family to do this. You're not even in the same state. This to me looks like you are grifting off a deceased child. Their response to me was quite brief, which of course led me to question if they actually even spoke English. Their message was, "What do you mean? Please share to support the cause." Me supporting the cause was fighting to get this page taken down. So I responded. My comment was, "Your GoFundMe campaign has not been endorsed in any way by Phoebe's family. There is an official GoFundMe which is endorsed by them. Legally, you have no right to be raising money which you claim is on behalf of Phoebe. You are a fraud. You are the worst kind of person imaginable, scamming money from the death of a child. Your account has been reported to GoFundMe, to the organiser of the real GoFundMe, and to Phoebe's family. You are also likely to be reported to federal police should you not choose to remove your page." Within half an hour of me contacting that individual with that message, the page was removed. Hopefully the individual who donated funds to that page will be able to get a refund for their money. And while I would have liked to have reported them to federal police for fraud, since of course I suspect that they are going to do the same thing with another case, where perhaps people are less tenacious and less aware. However, despite several efforts to follow various links to report it, it seems that only the family or the organiser of the original GoFundMe can actually report it for fraud. Or of course someone who had donated to it. I wasn't about to donate to it just for the sake of reporting it for fraud. So I'm hoping that someone has done so. Thankfully, I suspect there's going to be plenty of people keeping an eye on GoFundMe to make sure that no more of these pages pop up, and that if they do pop up, that they are reported pretty damn quick. Now, one last thing before I go on to Phoebe's memorial, and that is you will see a butterfly on my videos on the top left-hand corner, or mostly on the top left-hand corner, unless of course it is a video that has a title in that corner. I'm adding that butterfly to my videos in memory of Phoebe until her family are able to lay her to rest. So when you see that butterfly, you'll know what it's there for. So with that said, let's just go straight on to the memorial. And I will just say here, because I'm not going to add anything on the end of the video, thank you for listening. Please hit the like button, YouTube loves that. And please do leave a butterfly or a candle or a rainbow down below. And give a shout out. Say what country and what state you are from.
A gypsy soul with a warrior spirit and a wild heart. That's how the mother of Pheobe Bishop says she'll remember her daughter. Heartbroken residents in the tiny town of Gingin came together this afternoon to remember the teenager. Jordan Quinn is there tonight. Jordan, residents have held a vigil.
They have, Sam. Good evening. It's only just wrapped up. It ran for just over an hour, and it was raw and it was emotional. Hundreds of people, including police and SES, turned out to pay tribute to Pheobe Bishop. There were lots of speakers, but we heard from the one woman who loved her most. The entire town of Gingin, now bonded by heartache. They lit candles, shared stories, wore bold, bright colours and butterflies. It's what Phoebe loved most.
We should not remember Phoebe for the tragic ending that she's experienced, that we should remember her for the person she was, for the beautiful soul she was. That's how she needs to be remembered. Wearing this butterfly to represent Phoebe, represent that free-spirited person that she was,
I'm Trish Mears, and it's my very great honour to lead this candlelight vigil for the beautiful angel and punk rock girl who has left us too soon. Before we begin, I'd ask that your mobile phones are turned off or put on silent. And please, if you would like to come forward and sit down, you are more than welcome. As a community, we gather to connect, to console, to acknowledge the grief that has rippled through to all of us. Together, we stand stronger. Together we can share our love of the beautiful Phoebe who has touched everyone's lives. Of course, this is an incredibly sad time and we all need to grieve in our own way. But today is also a time to celebrate a beautiful life and draw strength from each other as we come together as community. Many of you here today live here, but many have travelled to join this vigil. We are all gathered as one in remembering Phoebe, bound together not only in grief but also in love. You'll now hear from Mayor Helen Blackburn.
Good evening, everyone. We're gathering here today with heavy hearts, mourning the loss of someone whose presence meant so much, Phoebe Bishop. Her passing's left a silence we all feel deeply, and yet, in the midst of this sorrow, something beautiful has happened. We've come together. We've paused our busy lives, despite our differences, and standing here side by side, not just in grief, but in love, respect, and remembrance. In times like these, the true character of a community is revealed. And what I've seen in these past days is something truly powerful. I've seen neighbours checking in on one another, friends holding each other through tears, strangers offering food, comfort and quiet support without needing to be asked. I've seen people remembering Phoebe not for just how she passed, but how she lived, with kindness, curiosity and with their hearts wide open. We often talk about community as if it's a place, but really community is people. It's us. It's the invisible threads of care, trust, and shared experience that tie us together. And in losing Phoebe, we've been reminded of how much these threads matter. Loss has a way of making us see clearly. It teaches us that time is precious, that small gestures, a kind word, a listening ear, and a helping hand are not small at all, that we belong to one another, especially when the world feels broken. So what do we do now? We carry Phoebe forward. We honour her by living as she did, with generosity, courage and compassion. We show up for each other. We listen and we forgive. We take the extra moment to say, "Are you okay?" And we mean it. And when we say goodbye tonight, let's not let this feeling pass. Let's make caring for one another the way we live, not just the way we grieve. The loss of Phoebe has reminded us how important it is to love fully, to love freely, and to be present. Let that be her legacy, not just in our memories, but in our actions. Thank you. Thank you all for coming together and for proving that you care for one another and for Phoebe. Thank you.
So now with some beautiful stories of Phoebe's spirit and love of life, I call up Amy, Janae and Kaylee.
Good evening, everyone. When I was asked to speak today, I was both honoured and overwhelmed. How do I begin to do justice to all the ways that our Fee has changed the lives of each of us here today? When I first met Phoebe, I instantly knew that her heart had been handcrafted by her mum Kylie and her big sister Kaylee. I had known Kaylee for what had felt like a lifetime, and I wasn't sure that there was another kid on this planet that I could love nearly as much as I love my own daughters. But my word was I wrong. It was as though Phoebe was made from all the wonderful things that had come before her. She was fiercely protective, gentle to those who were hurting, and she had the ability to stand with 2 feet firm on this earth, with arms open for anyone seeking refuge. She was wild and curious, and an untamable force. She was destined to explore the depths of what this life had to offer. What I will forever remember is the way that she could sit at a table with anyone and the world would instantly feel quieter for them. My youngest daughter, Marley, has never really been someone that was open to cuddles with anyone other than her mums and her big sister. She was curious but cautious. And I remember the moment she met Phoebe at Mad Camp. She was a tiny baby. Fee came running down the steep hill towards us, with her arms stretched wide, and I had braced myself for the inevitable rejection she was about to face. Without hesitation, though, Marley was cradled into the arms of Fee and found calm in her embrace. While brief, Marley rested her round little head onto Phoebe's squishy cheeks and then reached back out to her mum's. I wished I could say that Phoebe carried that same calm energy in every interaction she had, but that would be a fib. And in fact, she would be super mad at me for forgetting to mention that she was in fact the strongest, best fighter of her siblings. I remember the first Mad Camp with Phoebe, and I braced you for a brief swear word, so I apologise in advance. My first Mad Camp with Phoebe, where she came crashing towards me, yelling, "Miss," she said she was going to punch you in the face because you growled at her. I know you won't hit her, but I'll knock a bitch. I reassured her that she didn't need to protect me from a child who was having some really justified big feelings. And she curled her knees to her chest and tucked under my arm and looked up at me with her giant big eyes and told me about the fight that she had won with her sister just before coming to camp. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that one, because I've seen Kaylee in a rumble and I'm not certain that Phoebe ever was really a match.
She wasn't. I witnessed it.
While matched with stamina, Phoebe was certainly a winner with passionate energy and big stories. As I watched Phoebe's family fight relentlessly for her, not only these last 3 weeks, but for the entire time that I've known them, I've learnt some things about me as a mum and a sister and a friend. I have learnt that it is absolutely true that it takes a village to raise children, especially teenagers, and that when our children inevitably rebel against the structure and the love that they are shown, that they will need a village of strong people around them to remind them that they are loved and to guide them back home. I have learned that siblings are the absolute most important relationship that we will ever have, other than that of the one with our children. I have learned that the world can be so terribly cruel and so indescribably beautiful, and that those things can occur at the same time. I've also been abruptly reminded how short our time is on this earth. So my challenge to you beyond today is this: never take a single moment on this earth for granted. Book the holiday, apply for the job, play ball after dark, and drive the long way if it's more fun. Tell people that you love them, aggressively, and without there needing to be a reason. Be the person who loves without exception and who loves loudly. Hug people who are taller than you. I would give anything in this world to have Phoebe's little arms wrapped around the back of my head as she hugs me, because she was so much taller than me. There is something really special about being able to hear someone's heartbeat in their chest. I even encourage you to close your eyes for just a minute. Be gentle to people who are hurting. Fight for what is right. We love you, Fee, today and always. I promise that your baby niece and your siblings and your beautiful mama and every other person that has been gifted with knowing you will speak your name always.
Thank you so much, Amy. Now we'll hear from Janae. Janae and Kaylee together.
Obviously, I don't have a speech, but
Phoebe, 17 years was never enough for her life. But in the short 17 years that she was with us, God, she gave us a run for our bloody money.
she was a cutthroat person, but she seen the good in everyone. If she had opinion about you, you were sure to find out about it, whether you liked it or not.
But that's just the way Phoebe was, but she was loyal to the core to everybody she loved, respected, and valued in her life.
And thank you guys for coming. For everyone that did know Phoebe, they would know that Phoebe has such a big heart. Phoebe was a beautiful person, had a gypsy soul. She left behind a beautiful niece to Lula. Hey, she's saying nanny this week. Hey. She was an amazing sister.
She was so excited to be an Army, and Tallulah will always remember Phoebe, and her name will always be said.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'd like to hear from Indy. Indy is a relative of Levi, Phoebe's boyfriend. Thank you, Indy.
Thank you everybody for coming, for being here. My condolences to Phoebe's family, to anybody who was associated with Phoebe, friends, family. This is for Phoebe, this is from Levi. In the quiet space where your laughter once lived, your absence echoes louder than words can say. 17 years, a brief dance of light. Yet in that time you touched hearts in many ways that will never fade. You were a spark, bright, bold and unafraid, as her family has shared with us today. The soul who embraced life with open arms. Now in the stillness, we hold on to the warmth of your spirit, the kindness in your eyes and the joy in your smile. Though your journey was cut short, your impact endures. With every whispered memory, with every tear shed, in every heart that carries you forward, you live on. Rest now, dear Phoebe, in the peace you deserve, and know that you are loved forever and always. Love from Levi.
I now invite Kylie to share some beautiful poems with us.
Okay, I'm going to read two, so I'm going to read this one and then I need to thank everyone for coming today. Phoebe would be so amazed at everybody here for their strength for coming and for supporting her. I also want to remind our community a very important reminder, okay, and this is imperative for our family and for us to move forward in our healing. I know Tanika has been charged. I know her family live within our community, and from living within our community, I expect them to receive respect, and I expect them to receive the respect that they deserve. They have not made the decisions that this woman is accused of. They are not guilty of any of those actions. Those kids mean the world to us as a family. They meant the world to Phoebe as a family as well. It is imperative to us as a family that they are supported just as much as us. They are hurting probably more than us, even though we have lost our child. Okay? But I really need you to know that Phoebe's compassion would have reached that depth. There is to be no retaliation. There is to be no anger or hate towards that family. That person will be brought to justice in a way that justice deserves to be brought to. But that is not dependent on her family. And I need everybody to know that. I'm going to read two poems right now. One of them is called Life. And it says, life has a funny way of teaching us. It will create a deep sadness so we know how to truly understand happiness. It will create chaos in our lives so that we may appreciate the peaceful times. And it will take away those we love so that we truly understand what their presence meant to us. The other poem I got sent today by a beautiful friend of mine, and I was actually gobsmacked when I read this, and I thought to myself, that is my gypsy warrior, Fee. And the people that know Fee knew what I mean by that. I don't mean that in a negative way. What I mean by that is that Phoebe always sung her own tune. She lived to the fullest. She loved the people that she loved to every extent of the earth. And she was 200% invested in the people that she loved. And that is what we need to hang on to and remind ourselves of every day. So this was sent to me by somebody who knew Fee, has been on her journey for the last probably 4 or 5 years. And I read it and I thought to myself, you know what? That's my girl. That's how I'm always going to see my girl. And it is. She had a gypsy soul and a warrior spirit. She made no apologies for her wild heart And anybody that knew her knew that she made no apologies for any of her opinions. She left normal and regular to explore the outskirts of magical and extraordinary. And she was glorious. She was. And she continues to be. And we will make sure that she is remembered for that brilliance and that gypsy soul that she had. She has travelled to so many countries in the last 3 weeks, and she would be so thrilled to have visited them all. Unfortunately, she herself didn't get there, but you know what? Her spirit lives on with each and every one of us. Each time we travel, each time we talk about her, each time we say, Phoebe had an opinion about this, or Phoebe had an opinion about this, or Phoebe gave me a hug and showed me love and compassion and held my children like nobody had ever held them before. That's the Phoebe we remember. That's the Phoebe we honour. And that's the Phoebe that we take every day and everywhere with us. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I know it's not easy. Hasn't been an easy 3 weeks for us either. It's been absolutely hell that I would wish no parent to ever live with. But you know what? From our community, we've learned so much. Our community have held us up. They have supported us. They have advocated for us, and they have shown us so much love and compassion. And for that, we will never be able to repay. So we want to thank you, each and every one of you, for taking the time that you've taken out to come and visit with us today and spend time remembering Phoebe and remembering the beautiful moments that you've had with her. Thank you.
I'd like to share this Eskimo proverb. Perhaps they are not stars, but rather openings in heaven, where the love of our lost ones pours through and shines down upon us to let us know that they're happy. And with some final words, please welcome Major Chris Millard.
On behalf of all the ministers, Kylie, we send our love and our thoughts. I wrote this down because I'm a bit of a sook. All right. It says this: there are times in life when things are clearly not okay. This is one of those times. There is nothing we can say or do to make this better or even easier. Death, unfortunately, is hard. Even harder when one person so young is taken from us with such potential. All we can do is hang on. Take one moment at a time. We can hang on to memories of Phoebe. We hang on to the fact that the sun will set tonight and it will rise again tomorrow. And each moment we need to choose to live. Live to the full as Phoebe would do and what she wants you to do, and her family and friends do as well. In moments like these, I'm reminded of a scripture that says, even though, and that's the image I want to give you of our God. He has a rod and his staff, and though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fear no evil, for you are not alone. You have a God who protects and is with you. And may I speak these words over you. Lord, we don't understand when life is cut so short, so suddenly. But we understand that you are with us in the most difficult of situations. Lord, I ask for you to bring salvation to those who are lost, bring comfort to those who are mourning, and bring peace in knowing that you are out there and that you are with them during this dark and terrible time. Show us, Lord, I pray, how to shine your light, love, and forgiveness in a dark world, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Trish Mears, and it's my very great honour to lead this candlelight vigil for the beautiful angel and punk rock girl who has left us too soon. As a community, we gather to connect, to console, to acknowledge the grief that has rippled through all of us. Together we stand stronger. Together we can share our love of the beautiful Phoebe, who has touched everyone's lives. Of course, this is an incredibly sad time, and we all need to grieve in our own way. But today is also a time to celebrate a beautiful life and draw strength from each other as we come together as a community. Many of you here today live here, but many have travelled to join this vigil. We are all gathered as one, remembering Phoebe, bound together not only in grief, but also in love. Now, with some beautiful stories of Phoebe's spirit and love of life, I call up Amy and Kaylee.
When I was asked to speak today, I was both honoured and overwhelmed. How do I even begin to do justice to all the ways that Fee changed the lives of each of us here today? I can't quite decide if she would be incredibly embarrassed or proud of all the people that are here for her today. When I first met Phoebe, I instantly knew that her heart had been handcrafted by her mum, Kylie, and her big sister, Kaylee. I'd known Kaylee for what felt like a lifetime, and I wasn't sure that there was another kid on this planet that I could love nearly as much as I loved my own daughters. And my word, was I wrong. It was as though Phoebe was made from all the wonderful things that came before her. She was fiercely protective, gentle to those that were hurting, and she had the ability to stand with 2 feet firm on the earth with her arms wide open for anyone seeking refuge. She was wild and curious and an untamable force. She was destined to explore the depths of what this life had to offer. What I will forever remember is the way that she could sit at a table with anyone and the world would instantly feel quieter for them. My youngest daughter, Marley, has never really been someone that was open to cuddles with anyone other than her mums and her big sister. She was curious but cautious. I remember the moment she met Phoebe at Mad Camp. As a tiny baby, Phoebe came running down the hill, the big steep hill, towards us with her arms stretched wide open, and I'd braced myself for the inevitable rejection she was about to face. Without hesitation, though, Marley was cradled into the arms of Phoebe and found a calm in her embrace. While brief, Marley rested her round little head onto Phoebe's squishy cheeks and then reached back out to her mum. I wish I could say that Phoebe carried that same calm energy in every interaction she had, but that would be a fib. And in fact, she would be super mad at me for forgetting to mention that she was in fact the strongest, best fighter of her siblings. I remember my first Mad Camp with Phoebe, where she came crashing towards me yelling, "Brace yourself, there's a swear word. Miss," she said, "she was going to punch you in the face because you growled at her. I know you won't hit her, but I'll knock a bitch." I reassured her quickly that she didn't need to protect me from a child who was having very justified big feelings. And she curled her knees up to her chest, tucked under my arms, and looked up at me with her giant big eyes and told me all about the fight that she had just won with her sister just before arriving to camp. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that one, because I've seen Kaylee in a rumble and I'm not certain that Phoebe was ever really a match. While not matched with stamina, she was certainly a winner with passionate energy. As I've watched Phoebe's family fight relentlessly for her, not only for these last 3 weeks, but for the entire time I've known them, I've learnt some things about me as a mum and a sister and a friend. I've learnt that it is absolutely true that it takes a village to raise children, especially teenagers, and that when our children inevitably rebel against the structure and the love that they are shown, that they will need a village of strong people around them to remind them that they are loved and to guide them back home. I have learnt that siblings are the absolute most important relationship that we will ever have, other than that with our children. And I have learnt that the world can be so terribly cruel and indescribably beautiful, and that those two things can occur at the same time. I've also abruptly been reminded how short our time on this earth is. So, in the spirit of Phoebe, my challenge to you beyond today is this. Never take a single moment on this earth for granted. Book the holiday, apply for the job, play ball after dark, and drive the long way home if it's more fun. Tell people that you love them aggressively and without there needing to be a reason. Be the person who loves without exception and who loves loudly. Hug people that are taller than you. I would give anything in this world to have Phoebe's little arms wrapped around the back of my head as she hugs me, because she was so much taller than me. There's something really special about being able to hear someone's heartbeat in their chest. I even encourage you to close your eyes for just a minute. Be gentle to people who are hurting and fight for what is right. We love you, Fee, today and always. And I promise that your baby niece and your siblings and your beautiful mum and every other person that has been gifted with knowing you will speak your name always.
Once again, I do not have a speech. I was not the poet in the family, or Nanny. But Nanny did in fact never win a fight. She did though smash a door over my bloody head. But I don't even know what to say again. Nanny will always, her name will always be spoken in our family, in our community, forever. She will never die within us. She will always live on. But I do want to tell everybody, as much as your siblings do piss you off and grind your gears, because God, they know how to do that, 110%, they're the best ones who know how to do that. Don't take it for granted. Love every minute of it, because I would pay $1 million to have that bitch walk through my door and punch me in the arm, or what's going on, Titter? Don't take it for granted. Just cherish it. Just punch him back in the arm and be like, not much, bro, what you up to? Like, love the good and the bad. Just worship it all. Capture the memories.
I now invite Kylie to come forward to share a poem and some beautiful words.
Wow, holy moly. For somebody who never ever thought that I'd be in this situation where her daughter was missing, now, unfortunately, we know that she's not going to come home to us. I have no words that could ever describe what the last 3.5 weeks or how many days that's been is just weighed us down. But you know what makes my heart smile is that there's so many beautiful people in the world that Fee has touched within her local community. The young girls who have just come up to me, and you know, so many of them have known Phoebe from Mad Camp, and honestly, the way that she was so passionate about that, and the people that went there, you know, I think, you know, in the next, when we get Fee home and we lay her to rest, we might need to draw some attention to what Mad Camp is and how that impacts on our teenagers who are struggling. And what they go through to actually even get referred to MAD camp. I think we need to bring some light to that. It was a very important thing for Phoebe, and it was a very growing point for her, as well as the Y School, who has supported her unconditionally for the last, I'm going to say 10 months. But, you know, there's so many important people that need to be thanked in our community, and all of you guys are especially one of them. I am going to read a couple of poems. This one's called Life, and I did read it last night in Gin Gin, and we were blown away at how overflowing the park was there, and it was just so beautiful. Fee would have loved it and hated it at the same time, and I did actually have a repercussion of her, a consequence, I suppose, of her disappearing on us, was making her go around and take all the posters down that we'd put up. However, unfortunately, Miss Amy has had the pleasure of doing a lot of that for us, because unfortunately our flea is not able to do that. So life has a funny way of teaching us. It will create a deep sadness so that we know how to truly understand happiness. It will create chaos in our lives so that we may appreciate the peaceful times, and it will take away those we love so that we truly understand what their presence meant to us. I think it's really important that we acknowledge that sometimes we aren't always perfect. None of us are. None of us are ever going to be perfect. But we can be perfectly uniquely ourselves. And I can tell you now that that's exactly what my daughter was. She was perfectly uniquely herself, and anybody that knew her would tell you the same thing. The other one that I'm going to read was actually sent to me by a beautiful friend of mine, and Phoebe's. And it just, as soon as she showed it to me, I thought, you know what? That's my girl. That's who she was. And if you knew her, you'd know this. She had a gypsy soul and a warrior spirit. She made no apologies for her wild heart. She left normal and regular to explore the outskirts of magical and extraordinary, and she was glorious. Fee was more than glorious. She was compassionate, she was caring, she was resilient, she was relentless at times, and justice was, if she didn't see justice being done in her time, then justice was going to be done on her time. So anybody that knew her knew that. And I know that a lot of you here did know her. And I know that a lot of you know that about her. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, the thoughts that you send us, the prayers that you've put out to bring our girl home. And you know what? We will put her to rest. We will say goodbye to her in a way that celebrates her life, and we will acknowledge the fact that she left a footprint on each and every one of our hearts. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it, and from the bottom of our family's hearts, we are very grateful for all of the support that we have received from our community, far and wide, internationally. Fee would be so proud that she got to travel the world without even leaving Australia. She would just, oh my goodness, she'd be blown away by that support. So thank you, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Give a fuck about me, 'cause if you stopped and look around, you'd see it's not story for me. I can't get back the memories, but from the rest of the stories of the 2 times that you were right. I'm dying inside, but I can't just us in this world. Nobody can change that. Hey, we gon' fuck up in this world, and we can't change that. Stay up all night, you and me. When I'm with you, I feel free. Stay up all night, you and me. When I'm with you, I feel free. I begin to wonder, did you ever give a fuck about me? 'Cause if you stop to look around, you'd see it's transfer from me. I can't get back to memories. The summer's telling stories of the sweet times that you were around. I'm trying to describe, but I cannot make the sound. Give a fuck about me, 'cause if you stop to look around, you'd see it's transfer from me. I can't get back the memories. The summer's telling stories of the sweet times that you were around. I'm trying to describe, but I cannot make the sound. Keep it together, look in the mirror, tell myself you doing better. Okay, baby, it's just us in this world. Nobody can change that. Hey, we gon' fuck up in this world.